All right, how's everyone doing today? I'm going to show you how the dryer works. It's not very exciting, but I thought, it's something that most people don't get to see. So this is a good example of what spot drying is. When you're printing a shirt and you have multiple colors of ink going down on the shirt, this particular job has 3 colors of ink. Uh, 2 of the colors actually touch, overlap, and I did that intentionally because I wanted to create a certain effect with the print. So because two different colors of ink are touching on the shirt, then I have to spot dry the first color and then put the second color on top. And I'll show you how that works. So the first color is a light gray. 2 quick passes that way. Okay, that puts down a layer of ink. Now that ink is wet, so I need to spin my spot dryer around. And the temperature of the spot dryer has a heating element in there. I don't know, probably several hundred degrees, maybe 300 or 400 degrees. I'm not sure. Pretty warm. And you can see some smoke coming off of there, so I know it's been on there long enough. Now this ink is dry to the touch. And if I leave that on, leave the spot dryer on there long enough, it'll actually cure the ink, and that would be sufficient, to give to the customer. But I don't trust that process so much. I'd rather it run through my big conveyor belt dryer to make sure I have everything cured completely. Um, so 1 color down, spot dried, and I let it cool down just a little bit, because if I put wet ink on top of that hot dried ink, then it would cure the ink in the screen. It would block the screen. So I let this cool just a bit, and then I put a second color directly on top of it. This color is a darker gray. All right, so some of that dark gray went directly on top of the light gray in this stone pattern here. And then I leave that dark gray wet. I don't spot dry that. And then I put red over top. Now the red ink doesn't touch any of the gray ink at all, so I don't have to really worry about spot drying it. But what this does is it actually lifts a little bit of the dark gray ink on the underside of the screen, which gives this stone pattern a little more definition. You can see the dark and the light gray. And because the light gray was a little bit too light compared to what his logo is, so that's why I do that. And then the red is got a lot of texture to it to look like brick and stonework and stuff in the gray. So that's it. And then I take it off of here and put it on the conveyor belt dryer. I have to carefully pull the shirt off the platen. And since these are long sleeves and they're hoodie sweatshirts, I have a lot of extra material to deal with. So I've got to kind of flip it in there, make sure it's not sticking up too high, and make sure the hood's not poked up too high, because the heating element is at the top of this dryer all the way through. Okay, so here you can see the control panel for the dryer. And I set the temperature at 500 degrees. So at the surface of the heating elements inside the dryer, it's 500 degrees. The shirts pass underneath those heating elements, a couple inches underneath. That's necessary so all the solvents in the ink evaporate out and leave the solids behind in the ink, and it cures the ink right into the shirt. So it's a permanent print on the shirt. It'll never peel off or wear away or anything like that. So if your temperature's right and your belt speed is right, then you'll have good, successful printing. And so 35 seconds at 500 degrees is plenty of time and temperature to cure that ink properly. You can see the temperature drops a little bit as the shirt goes through, because the shirt's absorbing a lot of that heat. Everything I print is either 100% cotton or 50-50 poly cotton. I don't necessarily want to do 100% polyester or 100% nylon material, because then I have to adjust the temperature of my dryer, and there's just too many things that can go wrong and destroy the garment. And I have to keep an eye on the, the conveyor belt itself, because you can imagine a conveyor belt as it's rolling around the rollers, one on this end, one on the other end. If it's, if there's too much tension on one side or another, the belt will track to the left or track to the right. So I have to, just keep an eye on that to adjust the tension on the rollers on the end of the conveyor belt, so it doesn't, run off the one side or the other. And so, but once I have the dryer set to the settings it needs to be, then not too many adjustments that need to be made. So I just got to keep an eye on the temperatures. Like you can see, the temperature is down to 489, 490 now. It'll climb back up. If it gets too hot, it'll actually scorch the shirt, the surface of the shirt, or it might. I don't know what there's probably a technical term for it, but it overheats the ink and it makes it look kind of too shiny, too glossy, like it cooks the ink a little too much. So if the temperature's too high, then it'll overheat the shirt, cause damage. Or if the temperature's not high enough, if it's too low, then the ink won't cure on the shirt, and then you have problems with the print lasting a long time on the shirt. The ink won't cure. It'll eventually crack and fade and flake off in the wash. And so temperature needs to be just right. The speed needs to be just right as it goes through the dryer, so it has a long enough time to cure. So all those things combined together make a good, consistent print quality on our shirts here. And as the shirt comes out of the other end of the dryer, it just drops off into a bucket. Not a bucket, it drops off into a box at the bottom, down below here. All right. And then I come back later and I pull all the shirts out of the box, lay them on the table, fold them, separate them by size, then box them up and ready for a customer to come pick them up.